Okay.
All right, we're back. We're back from retreat. Well, Amy is back from retreat. This is the most special retreat that I think, Amy, you could possibly experience. It's
Mhm.
you living at your highest, best use of self, your calling, and the very special thing that you've created for so many people. And this was year 5. And so we're going to lean into your experience, you living in your calling, and hear all the goodness of this retreat experience that you just got back from, and then also break down what are retreats, how are they different than vacations, and really unpack why they're so important. So
Mm.
okay, let's start with, I got to talk to you for a few minutes yesterday and I can feel the energy. What's alive in you right now coming back?
Ooh, I feel like the gift of witnessing people remember themselves. Like that
Mm.
every year, that's such a they think that they're there to like get something or learn something, but to just witness them remember their being, and kind of get back in alignment with themselves is always it's so beautiful to witness. And I feel like that stays with me. Like it carries with me the importance of that kind of just the opportunity to give yourself that space to experience that.
Okay, so let's give a little color to what you just said there. People come in to get something, to learn something. Most of these women, I would say all, are high achieving, got a lot going on in life, and they're making things happen. So naturally, they're coming to figure out, like, ooh, what am I going to learn here? How am I going to give? And talk more about what that looks like. And maybe you've got an example without sharing a name of that transformation that happens.
Yeah. So yes, it is mostly it's all professional women, and a lot of them like leaders or business owners, or and to your point, like yes, they are they are really good doers. They know how to go out and get shit done in life. They are honestly have found a lot of their worth in that, of like their worth has been equal to outcomes often. But this happens for men and women, right? I think we hit this point where that feels exhaustive, or at least we hit a point where we're like, when does when come? When does like that space where it's like, that's where I can take that deep breath and feel good? That usually doesn't happen. We just kick the can down the road and we're still trying to do more. And, so these women show up in different places and stages of life. And one of the women in particular has worked at a company for many, many years. It's become a huge part of her identity. Those are her words. It had become a huge part of her identity. And she was hoping to like get clarity on where she should be next, and how she's going to handle this thing when it falls and all of that. And I think her greatest takeaway was just reconnecting with a softer side of her, reconnecting with a feminine energy, not just this hyper masculine of get shit done. And she came in hoping she would get clarity, but she left reconnecting to a part of herself she didn't know she so desperately needed to be reconnected with.
Mm. Talk about feminine energy for a minute for those that may not understand that no matter if you're male or female, we all have two sides of us. And can
Mhm.
you just explain that a little bit more?
Yeah. So masculine energy is when we are in our doing and striving and building state. That's the energy of the masculine. It is grow, evolve, um, you know, grind, get things done. That's our masculine energy. And it's required in this world in order for us to evolve. That saying, evolve or die, that it's required of us to have that masculine energy. The feminine energy, which is not just for women. I mean, that's a men and women can each have a balance of the two of those things. Feminine energy is compassion, empathy, love, slowing down, connecting to the being. If you think about it, life comes from, the feminine energy. We birth it into existence. and we birth the being into existence. And so reconnecting with our being is allowing us to align with a more feminine state. And it's important for us to, all of us, to have a balance of the two. This is why, if we look at the workplace, I think for a long time it was fully masculine. Just get in, get stuff done, keep moving. And now organizations are starting to care about bringing in this feminine energy, which is like, are you happy here? Do you enjoy it? What's collaboration look like? Are you passionate about what you're doing? That's inviting in the feminine.
Mm, so good. Let's talk about a few moments during this retreat that
Mhm.
you just felt right then in that moment. This is exactly where I'm supposed to be right now.
Mhm.
It was just a really powerful moment for you and very touching. Give us a couple of those.
So, day two in the evening. So our day is kind of structured like, you wake up, you have a little breakfast, we come and do an hour of yoga. We do 45 minutes to an hour of like breath work, meditation, visualization work. Then you've got a good free part of your day to do what you want. We have excursions set up if people want to do that. You can do spa services, like you can hang at the pool, whatever. You've got a good part of the day to yourself. And then we come back together in the evening for what we call integration time, which is just sharing like what came up for you today. Every day has a theme that our yoga and meditation and our coursework is wrapped around. So on Tuesday, we were talking about ego and the voice within and that inner critic, and we did this exercise where people had a chance to connect with what is their underlying story that seems to carry with them. Like, is it an experience that you had that made you feel like you weren't good enough? Is it some imposter syndrome? Did you not feel like you fit in with your family? Like, people have their different stories, right? And we had them with a partner share that from the lens of the victim. Like, share it from a, this happened to me and it's the worst thing that ever happened. Then we had them move seats and share it, from a different lens. Like, I think we did made up language. Like, share it in whatever made up language that you can. And now share it as if it was the greatest gift you ever had. And the breakthroughs, just to watch the women see the change in their perspective, was so affirming of how important this work is to come together and be able to do, to create a safe space. And man, we had somebody, I mean, several women came up crying afterwards and were like, thank you. I so needed to kind of step into my power in that story and give it gratitude. But also, I needed to see how small it really is. Like, it, so that giving them that time and space to untangle that with each other was very super affirming.
Mm.
Mm.
So I've been on 3 of these retreats, and I've witnessed a different Amy Woodall there. Amy Woodall is a different level, let's call it tapped in. Um, what is that to you, Amy? Like yesterday, I was talking with you, Des. I would say the same. You both have this energy. You bring a very different, I don't know, style and gift to it, but together it is what I would call, what I've seen as your friend for both of you for a very long time, your best use of self.
Mm.
What is it that allows that, or what is so different that this me that is the participant sees a different version of Amy
Mhm.
there?
I think it's multiple things that are happening. I think number one, given that we're doing this work in an all women environment, it helps me tap deeper into that, feminine, this divine feminine energy that we all carry. I think it allows me to step more fully into that for myself. So that's one of those things. I think the next part is, it's such heart-led work. It's not mind-led work. And so when you're working with the heart, there really is, you have to invite in more intuition. And it's not like thinking ahead. What do we need to say next? What's the plan here? What's the syllabus? Like, truly, we are reading the room and ebbing and flowing based on what is needed next. We're truly reading the energy and the heart of the room. And I think the last thing is, I feel like this is a space where I just fully get to be a messenger. I just open myself up. I stay very open and just allow whatever is meant to move through my voice to move through my voice. So when I'm leading meditation, I just trust whatever the next right words are. I do not have I've never written a meditation down. I have I mean, I might have like a loose idea of where we're going to go, but I just trust wherever the meditation goes is what the room needed to hear, what they needed to visualize, what they needed to let go of. And so I feel like I'm fully in flow. And that's when we know we're really aligned with our gifts, is when we're not in our heads, but we're really aligned on a soul level. We're really aligned somatically with our bodies, and we're letting our heart guide the way. Yeah, not overcomplicating things in our mind.
Mm. Just want to note that I think that's everyone's North Stars to find that alignment with the work that we do in the world when we just show up in our right space and let life flow and be a vessel for the good that we're supposed to do in the world. It's what we're all seeking, and yeah, such powerful stuff. So when you come home from that space, how do you stay anchored in that version of you?
Mm. Well, I would say the WhatsApp continues to go for a while. We've got a WhatsApp in every group that we start before our trip so that people can communicate with each other as they're traveling, and they know what other people coming are looking like, and then we share videos and photos and all kinds of stuff in there. And so just the women continuing to kind of share their ahas or connect with each other, that's it really helps stay anchored within it, but also carrying those practices through. Because as beautiful as these experiences are, I'm on, right? Like we're on the whole time. We are just there and attuned to people. And it takes a lot of energy in a good way, but it does take a lot of energy. So coming home, it's, you know, doing my own restorative practices. It's meditating. It's staying in touch with like Des and Sarah, who Sarah is she's our glue, really. Like she helps plan, and she's kind of the operational end of our retreats. But staying in touch with those ladies is so good. And for the first time this year, we're offering a mastermind after the retreat so that we can keep the work going with these women, and it becomes, more of a consistent practice. There's, better integration,
Mhm,
because it is easy for you go once a year, it's incredible, and then a week later, we're right back to where we were before, because that's how the subconscious mind works. So,
mhm.
yeah, consistency and communication after is big.
Before we transition into learning more from an educational standpoint about retreats and different ways we can do that, is there anything else that you want to share about your experience?
I think there's a few things that that's always like super surprising, but in the best of ways, or I guess affirming in the best of ways. So first off, on our retreat, I think what makes them so special. So we were at Blue Spirit. There were two other groups there that were primarily women, and we could sense like it wasn't the same experience. I don't know what their retreats were, but we would like walk by women who were talking bad about other women, and I will say the magic in our retreat is we've had one rule, and it's the no asshole rule, that has been so great. Nobody wants to be the asshole. And so we really do create an environment of deep love and affection that's created in such a short amount of time for women. And that's so healing for any of us who had negative experiences growing up, where maybe we were shunned, or we had negative friendships or whatever. We were taught to compete with other women, and so this environment where we move out of that mindset of how can I compete with you to what can I learn from you and how can I support you, it's incredibly healing. And so, yeah, keeping these as women only, not to say we'll never evolve into other things, but having a women's only retreat it's so incredibly healing. Truly, truly so healing in many ways, in ways people don't expect. I think that's one thing. The next piece of this is like giving yourself permission to be loved on, poured into, um, to do simple things that feel like nothing. Like, how breath work in itself, just breathing. Like breathing is like it's literally we do it without having to think about it. So spending time in like deep breathing, like the restorative aspect of that, it so kicks a vacation's ass. I mean, you could go on a vacation and you might have fun and you'll have great pictures and you had some good food and probably some good drinks, but you may not come back as deeply restored as you hoped. A retreat, holy crap, like the restoration is incredible. And I think that's always really affirming every year.
Mhm, mhm. So good. So let's start to talk about retreats and let's anchor in the retreat that you just went on, this annual retreat. That's not the only retreat you do throughout the year. There are various times you retreat in different ways, and so do I. So to go into a beautiful place like in Costa Rica with these women, with these amazing, talented facilitators, Amy and Des, that is one version of retreat. Another version of retreat could be an afternoon blocked for yourself. And we can go into like what that could look like. But there's so many different ways to retreat.
Mhm.
But I think just tapping into what Amy was sharing, the difference between a retreat and a vacation, there's such a distinct difference where I mean the main vacation, it's like we are running away to be able to have an escape, to do something so fun with people that we love, and it's mostly about the items on the agenda, what we're going to see and eat and all of that, and it's great, it's so great. I would say retreat is self-reflection, inner work. It is a deep experience. How would you define that before we talk about the different ways we can do it?
I think that's yeah, I think that's good. If I think about the retreat, if I take first of all, if I think about the vacations I've taken, I typically plan those. Okay. So like everything we're doing, where we're eating, did we get the dinner reservations? Did we, like there's I think whenever a vacation happens, there's somebody who is doing the legwork to make that happen. So there's that aspect of the vacation and then what memories are going to make and art like I mean I think you nailed all of those things.
Okay.
A retreat is a chance to allow just whether it is if you're going off and experiencing a retreat, first off, somebody else is planning all of it. You just got to show up. That's kind of it. Just got to show up. If you're retreating on your own, which we can get, well, I know we'll get deeper into it, it's more of an allowing than it is like a planning and a doing and a like it's not about checking things off of a to-do list
Mhm.
where I think a vacation or an experience often is, all the things we want to get done, all the things we want to
Mhm.
see.
Yeah. And let's just say this, I'm all in for vacations, like, love them,
Uh-huh.
right? It's just a different, um, need for us as humans, and not to forget that a retreat is so powerful for your soul and connecting with you and who you wanna be in life so that you can pursue that North Star of living out what you want to do on this life experience to be your very best self. It's all that
Mhm,
stuff. So
mhm,
let's just talk about examples of different types of retreats. So like full immersion is what we just talked about with high vibe, right?
mhm,
A local or day retreat is maybe at a wellness center, maybe at a park, maybe at a spa. It's time unplugged, journaling, meditating, walking, maybe connecting with others around you. It is a day reset, okay? Versus maybe a solo retreat at home that could be like turning off your notifications, setting the vibe in your home that makes it feel most warm to you, candles and maybe nice music that you enjoy, journaling, reading, not allowing the world to distract you, right? You're in your sanctuary at home, and a retreat could simply be turning off notifications and doing favorite things and just working through and having silence, right? There are relationship retreats, like that could be a date night, that could be a best friend and you and your partner getting away to work on your partnership together, a better friendship, right? There's so many different ways of retreating. So I just wanted to throw that out there because sometimes we just think high vibe, right? That full
Mhm.
like, I'm going away for multiple days and,
Yep.
it costs a lot of money. I have to travel far, but it doesn't have to be that. Highly recommend those in your life, but it doesn't have to be that. So Amy, let's talk about like when do we know it's time for us to take a retreat, or kind of like how do we proactively plan so that this is part of our rhythm?
Mhm. So let's start with the how do we know when it's time? I think when we feel like our mind is in that place where it's like lost and then found and then lost and then found, and like you have clarity and then you don't, and you're on the emotional roller coaster, like maybe I love my job, maybe I don't, maybe I should do this, maybe I shouldn't. That is really a signal that we need to get back to the core of our being, because our we're operating too much from the mind, and the mind is a chaotic place to live in. It does talk us in and out and up and down and all around. And so we've got to create some space to connect with the being of who we are. And the being of who we are is whatever your soul's connection is. It's such a personal thing, but it's important for everybody to know and understand, what is my relationship with the spirit of my being? Is that come in the form of understanding my values? Does that come in the form of, being connected to my body, like having a somatic practice where I really am attuned to what my yes and no means? Like, I think that's incredibly important when we find ourselves in our mind. It's time to retreat. The making the space. So it's been a while, but we had probably about maybe a year ago or so, we had a guest on who wrote a book called The Art of Retreat. And his recommendation was, hey, ideally, you have 2 hours every single week. You have 1 month, or I'm sorry, one, or maybe it was, yeah, one day every single month. And you have 1 week every single quarter that you are you have white space for you to just be, for you to take a walk outside with no phone, for you to maybe take a day that's just focused on journaling and breath work and meditation and being in nature, for you to take a week where you can go and write and, stay away from emails, and there's so much clarity that comes in silence. Like silence isn't nothing. Silence provides so many answers that we haven't sat quietly enough to hear. So I aspire to that. 2 hours a week, 1 day a month, 1 week a quarter to retreat, would be super ideal. But yeah.
And the only person stopping us from doing that is us. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm just saying that out loud because I was very inspired by that. I think you and I, around that time when we both heard this or read this or whatever, we're like, we're doing that. That is incredible. Just get it
Yeah.
on the system.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the only reason it's not happening is because we didn't block it. Just because, we missed out on those 2 hours or that one day or that one week. Life goes on and all the things still happen. Just quick reminder for myself. Okay, back to when we were talking about the retreat types. One that I missed that I'm like, I have to add this in: team retreats. That's another version, right? So we hear about this in companies. It's like, oh, we're on a retreat week, or we've got a couple of retreat days, all in this effort of taking space that allows reconnection with ourself,
Mhm.
reconnection if it is with others like team or partner or whatever, with those closest to us, really in the truth, the mission, the why, and our purpose individually and collectively. And just remembering, what is a retreat? It's really that it's taking that space to allow that reconnection back to what really, really matters. And it's just so important. So, Amy, as I'm watching the clock here, these always go so fast. Do you want to
Mhm.
talk about integration? Because you had mentioned something earlier about, we go on these amazing experiences, and then the next week, if we're not doing the mastermind or the, participating in the WhatsApp group, or, having time to journal about whatever. Talk about
Mhm.
what integration looks like and why it's so important, whether going on the immersive or the date night, why that's so important.
Yeah. I think for many of us, we integration falls off because we do all or nothing, kind of like to the point of like the scheduling the retreats, right? We feel like if we can't apply everything we've learned, then we just kind of forget, then we kind of forget everything. And so integration is done best when we make small commitments to ourselves. What is one thing that I could take back with me that if I chose to do it with consistency, it would make a radical change in my life. And maybe that one thing that you notice, like taking away from a retreat, was it felt really good to not be attached to my phone. Okay. How do you honor that when you come back? Does it become no phone the first hour of the day and the last hour of the day? Do that. And then invite someone in for accountability, somebody who lives with you. Maybe it's somebody you met on the retreat that you're checking in with. But as humans, it's not a sign of weakness if we need accountability from someone. It's a sign that we're a human and that it requires repeated effort in order for change to take place. That is just part of being a human. So I think taking the most meaningful piece and learning how to integrate it in small ways, and then yeah, inviting in that accountability is really big. And to remember that it's not, we do not have to have a retreat. Like it creates the space for the remembering, but we don't have to have a retreat to practice being in our daily lives. I think that's something when I get off track that I even have to remind myself of is like, oh, I'm not feeling my greatest. Chances are I've been listening to my mind too much and I've been overwhelmed with the doing and not enough of the being. What's one thing I can do right now?
Mm, mhm. So I don't know if you have anything else that you want to make sure we cover, but this just came to me. So I'm going to go here for a second. We, on this life journey, go into experiences that we've talked about today, like retreats or whatever it is. Maybe you took a new course, maybe you stepped in to say yes to something that you normally wouldn't, but you did, and now you're there. You're a different version of you now. Like the
Mhm.
old you, there's so many people in our lives that want to talk about what we did in our past, right? Think back to like, but back in high school or whatever. And just this whole realization and truth that every day is a new experience for us to step into who we are
Mhm.
now.
Mhm.
And I think this is just a powerful reminder of yesterday when I was talking to Amy and Des. I said, I've witnessed this. I know that this is your best use of self. I don't need to go to one of those retreats to know that that is your gift. I get it in just being, in relationship with you as a dear friend. I know this is your best use of self. And so I had asked both of them. I think I asked you, Amy. I'm pretty sure I did. I know I asked Des. Um, if you got to do this work 80% of your life, what would that be like? I did
Mm.
ask you that yesterday, didn't I?
I don't know, but I
Okay.
mean,
I did ask Des, and her
uh
overwhelming response was like, of course.
yeah.
And I was like, okay, just tap into that, right? Because we find through these experiences something that brings a new version or just like we get that feeling of this is it, right? And just lean into your next best self because we find it every day and you
Mhm.
don't have to be what it was before and you get to create for that, the future to
Mhm.
bring your best. So I don't know where that applies, Amy, or any way you want to wrap it up, but that's what just came to me.
Yeah, I love that, and I think it's a good reflection. This is such good work. Truly, 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 like the chant. It's an honor to be a space of healing for people and a space of remembering to people. And I say it nauseum, like we are our greatest relationship. We are the only human we're stuck with forever. And like, great, that's amazing. Till death do us part. Now, how do we learn how to be in good relationship with ourselves? How do we learn how to be compassionate and loving and learn how to we're kind of like our own little Tamagotchi, like, ooh, what does this being need today? And how can I love on it today? And what reassurance does it need today? it's such a part of connecting with our human nature.
Mhm.
So there's two things. It's 8:30, but two things I just want to share with the group. If something feels too big for your head, give it to your heart to solve. That was such a good takeaway for many people on the retreat. And lastly, when you are feeling overwhelmed and stressed, one of the greatest things that you can do is extended breath work. It is healing to get rid of a lot of stuck energy. So just look up somatic breathing on like YouTube and do a 10 or 15-minute breath work. You will feel like a new human when you're done.
Mm. And I do just want to mention on the breath work, sometimes it will take a few times before you feel comfortable with it because you're like, what is this? Keep doing it until you feel a little something. Because I promise when you feel a little something, it's like, wow.
Yeah,
So,
very
yes, I
impactful.
love that. I
Yeah.
love that. All right. Well, thanks again for another great week together. And we'll see you. Actually, little teaser. Next week, I am out on at a conference and Amy will be here with one of her boys to have Braxton as a guest here on Conscious Conversations. So I can't wait to get the recording because I won't be able to
Yeah,
be here,
can't wait
but
either.
that'll be amazing.
It's gonna be
All right,
good. Okay,
cool.
thank
See
you.
ya. Bye.
Bye.